Hello viewers, you are welcome to Family Life program. You know, Family Life is a program specially designed for 21st century families to support them to handle issues that are confronting them. Today, I just want you to call a family that you love so much to listen to the topic we are going to discuss. I'm your usual host, Mrs. Betty Adom. Stay tuned, we'll go for a quick break. When we come, I will introduce the topic and my guest for today. Welcome viewers. If you are just joining us, this is Family Life program. I have with me here a very special person, and this man has a lot of experience. He's a father of 4 children, a father of a husband of 1 wife. This man has been a lecturer for so long. He has been a lecturer of psychology, and for my knowledge, he was once a dean for psychology, a head of department for psychology department in the University of Ghana, Legon. And with me here is Dr. Akuamoah Boateng. Doctor, you are welcome.
Thank you.
Yes. Now, back to our topic. Today we are going to discuss very important issue. It's an issue that people have kept silence on. It's a silent issue, but it's killing families. Sibling rivalry. Doctor, from your point of coming from psychology side and knowledge in training children, having a good family and a good children, where all of them, I think all of them are married now and they've given birth. I want you to tell us, when we talk of sibling rivalry, what is it?
Whenever there are 2 or more children in a family, there tends to be competition amongst them for attention, recognition, status, and for the resources of the family. So when we talk about family sibling rivalry, we are talking about the kind of competition that goes on amongst children, boys and girls, whether they are biological children or adopted or both. So long as they are children in the family, that kind of competition goes on. And it is this competition that we call sibling rivalry.
Okay. Don't continue.
Yeah, and it tends to be very keen when the children are born too close together.
Okay.
You know, maybe 2 years or less. And then also when they tend to be the same sex, you know, boys or girls, because boys tend to relate more with boys, and then the girls tend to relate more with the boys. But if the 2 are of the opposite sex, the competition still goes on. And even though we talk about it amongst children, it also escalates into adulthood.
Oh, okay.
It goes through adolescence and then into adulthood, and sometimes even into old age. So even in old age, you still find that rivalry, that competition is still there amongst the siblings.
Doc, I want us to turn our Bible. I want to read something from the Bible, and then we'll pick it from here. When you look at Genesis 27, I want to read Genesis 27 verse 36. Just a quick one there. 27 verse 26. Genesis 27 verse 36. Something happened. You know, during the time of Jacob, let me say Isaac. Isaac gave birth to 2 children. That is Jacob and Esau.
They were twins.
Twins.
Yes.
They were twins.
Yes.
Doug, I know you know a lot about it. Tell us something about it. We want to relate this topic to what happened in the Bible, especially these 2 children.
The 2 children, what makes it especially interesting is the role the parents played in this kind of competition. So it looks like the father liked Esau and the mother liked Jacob. So when the father had decided to bless Esau and had asked him to go into the bushes and get some venison and prepare food for him, the mother heard it and then went and told the little one, Jacob. So you see, in sibling rivalry, parents play a very important role in that. Because if children do not see that the resources are shared equally amongst them, or attention is shared equally amongst them, they tend to think that mommy or daddy is playing favoritism. Mother has her own favorite, and daddy has his own favorite. And the children, through this, tend to see that they are not liked as much as the other ones. And that creates that kind of competition between them. Yes. The idea that I have to do something to earn the attention
of my parents.
And if I'm not getting it, why are you getting it? So that creates some kind of hostility between the two children, simply because somebody is getting more than what he or she deserves. And you see, it's more interesting when you look at the birth order. Let's say the firstborn and then the secondborn. If they are born too close together, then the first one begins to see that something that in the past belonged to him or her alone has now been taken over by somebody else. So the newborn is seen not as a friend or a brother or a sister, but as some kind of an imposter. No, he's come to take his position. He's come to take the benefits and the privileges that he was enjoying. So now he or she sees the newborn as an enemy and not a friend.
So it means that it doesn't even begin at adolescent or adult stage.
No.
Whilst the children are young.
Very young, very young. And as I said at the beginning, it's even more pronounced if they are born too close together. Yes, you see, if you space the children out, the first one begins to expect the second one. Expects a brother or a sister. And sometimes they even ask, when am I going to get my brother? Or when am I going to get my sister? At that stage, you know that when this baby comes, the first one will be very ready to accept him or her. And will even help to take care of the newborn. And most of the times, parents also don't do very well. They don't educate their children. They don't prepare them for the one that is coming. See, a woman is pregnant. The child asks her what is there? Why is your stomach like this? Instead of taking time to explain to him or her that this is the case, and pretty soon you are going to get a brother or a sister. And these days with technology, you can even tell the sex of the child before it is born. Then you can tell you're going to get a brother or you're going to get a sister. And when your sister comes, this is what you're supposed to do. And when the children are born, I mean, let's say the second one is born, we don't help the old one to appreciate that this is his or her sister or brother, and so she will help to take care of him or her. When they are coming close to them, they will tend to drive them away.
Maybe for the fear that the child will hurt the small one.
Yes, but they will not come intentionally to hurt the child. It is only when they realize that that child is getting more attention than they deserve. You see, and when they come, and you, the mother, you try to help her to understand that this is your brother or your sister. Go and bring this. Let's take care of. Let's do this for baby. Let's do that for baby. Then she begins to accept him as his brother or sister. But the moment you begin to show that now your attention is more on the newborn than the first one, then you begin to create that kind of enmity between them.
So, Doctor, with this kind of attention being given to the both, let me say the baby and then the child, who plays major role here, and who among the family members should support the one that is expecting, or let me say the boy or the girl who is already old? Who should help that person to understand? Because we have the father, the mother is also there.
Yeah, but here we are talking about resources.
Okay.
And before the newborn, this older brother or sister was the one getting mommy's attention all the time. So now it is not a question of whether it is daddy who should take care of her, or in the past it is mommy who was taking care of him or her, giving him food and putting him or her on her laps and that sort of thing. It is that which she now sees that it has been taken away from her. And that is what makes the competition, between the newborn and the old one. Because in the past, she was always sitting on mommy's lap. Okay. Now she comes and there's somebody lying there. She can't sit there anymore.
Okay. So, Doc, picking it from the childhood stage, let me say, while the child is growing, the sibling, the smaller one, can we say that because the child was receiving attention at first, mommy can give the smaller one to somebody in the presence of the older one, whilst mommy takes care of the older one, and then another person will take care of the younger one?
No, you should take care of the two of them simultaneously. And in fact, you should help the child to even appreciate that this is his or her brother or sister, and then help you, mommy, to take care of his or her brother.
Oh, okay, so collective efforts here.
So the two of you will be taking care of this one. And if it is possible, whilst the baby is on your lap, you let the older one sit by you. And so if it is nappy you are changing, bring the nappy, bring the powder. Then the two of you will be taking care of the newborn. And then she will appreciate that this one belongs to all of you, including himself or herself. It is his brother or her brother or sister. You see, and the child begins to accept the newborn. When they are older, it's easier. Especially, as I said earlier on, when they begin to ask for a brother or sister, and the brother or sister comes, they begin to appreciate him or her. But if they are very young and they see the newborn as a competitor, that is where you have to play your role very well. And you have to be very tactful so that he or she will learn to accept the newborn. Okay.
Now, Doctor, let's pick it from the point where they are all grown. Let me say they are reaching the adolescent stage. At what point do we parents contribute to bring this rivalry?
Oh, it is not at the adolescent stage. It's right from when they are very young. They are children. The way you treat them as they grow, they begin to get the idea of whether you like both of them equally or you have a preference for one of them or whatever. So it goes along as they grow. It's in stages. When they are young, you were taking care of the baby, and so all the time you were sidelining the other one. And then as time went on, you expected the older one to take care of the younger one. So you were always backing the younger one, no matter what he or she did. So as they grow, they begin to realize that mommy is always on the side of this person. Okay,
so Doc, can we have some examples? Some of the things that parents as the mothers, let me say, because always mothers are closer to their children. Some of the things that we normally do that create this rivalry.
One of the things that most of the times we do wrong is by comparing the children.
Okay.
You see, and making one feel superior to the other. You are not like your brother. You are not like your sister. Your sister is always doing things better than you, and this and that and that. And once you do that, they begin to see that you're playing favorites. See, so we must try as much as possible not to compare the children and make them feel that one is superior to the other. We must treat them as individuals. That is the thing that most parents find very difficult to do. You must see them as different people with different potentials. One may be doing something very well. The other also has his strength somewhere. So we look at those strengths and then try to encourage them in the development of those specific areas. But the moment we start, and you see, one thing about parents is that we always like children who are like us. Yes. They are like us in the sense that they look like us, they behave like us, and everybody looks at them, oh, this is so-and-so's child. And he behaves like his father or his mother.
Most especially when you name that person even after your mother or your father.
Exactly. See, so we tend to be more comfortable with those children who do what we want them to do, and then also who look more like us, rather than the other ones who are very different. Because if the child is like you and he does his things the way you did yours when you were younger, it is very easy bringing that individual up. But when you have somebody who is the exact opposite of you, one who will not sit down when you say they should sit down, and one who is always asking, why should I sit down? And especially children who are very hyperactive. They can't sit down for even a minute or two without getting up to do something. And you always want them to sit down. Then you begin to develop some kind of frustration. Bringing that person up. And so we tend to look at the ones that are similar to us, who do things the way we want them to do them. And we tend to show them more affection than the other ones who are.
Doc, we will go for a break. We will go for a break. I think the conversation is becoming interesting. And then when we come back, because viewers, we are going for a short break. You can text or send your contribution or your questions on the numbers on the screen. We will go for a short break. When we come, we'll continue from where we just ended. Welcome, viewers, from the break. We are still on the topic sibling rivalry. We've gotten to a point where we've noticed that parents contribute to the outbringing of the children and how the children can stay without quarreling. We contribute a lot to their rivalry issues. This is what Doctor is trying to tune our minds on, so that at least as parents, now that we have a family, new ones are coming in, we have old ones. How do we handle them in order to avoid this siblings rivalry? So, Doctor, we will continue from where we ended. We were just talking about how we will be able to avoid this kind of rivalry. But then we want to still know more about some of the things that we parents, unconsciously we do. Let me take a typical example. They have all started schooling. You could see that you've given all the necessary attention to them, the books and everything, but still it seems like somebody is performing better than the other. How do you handle this issue?
Well, if somebody is performing better than the other, in fact, we don't expect all of them to perform the same way. But what we need to do is to find out why. It is not because they haven't got books or whatever, you've given them everything, but find out why is the other one not doing so well, and in which area is he or she not doing so well.
Doc, let me put my question very well.
Okay.
Can parents use that point where one person is not performing, another person is doing better, the learning is good, and that particular area can cause rivalry among the siblings, because one is doing well in the school, in school. When the exams come, very good. Another one too is not doing well. Do we parent in a way? Let me say, is there a way that we can use that one alone to create that rivalry among them?
Oh yes, because we may have the tendency to use that to, to separate them in the sense that you are saying this one is good, that one is bad, because this one is doing well, this one is not doing so well. And you tend to use the other one as an example, or you try to compare the two of them. Look at your brother, look at your sister, look at how good she is and how good he is, and look at you and that sort of thing. You see, we can't expect them to perform equally well. It's not even identical twins to that. But what we need to do is to find out why the other one is not performing as he should. And you see, the problem that most of us have is to think that our children must always be ahead of everybody else. No. In class, your friend is first and you are 10th. I mean, that is not important. What is important is to look at the separate individual subjects that they are taking, where he or she is doing well and where he's not doing so well, and then find out why. What's his problem or her problem in that area, and try to help them out of that. As to whether the brother is doing better than him or not, it's not something that we should use to try to differentiate them. Okay. No. All we have to say is that let's find out why. What problem do you have with this particular subject? Because for all you know, there is some area that individual is very good at. See, that is why we are not all lawyers, and we are not all doctors, and we are not all painters and artisans. See, somebody is good in one area, the other person is also good in another area. So just look at them, look at their performances, and then also make sure that the non-performance is not because the child is not studying. Okay. Sometimes that could be the case. Because if you have a very hyperactive child who finds more joy in going, running about and playing all the time rather than sitting down and learning, then you need to attend to that.
So, doctor, let's take this like a situation where one child is performing very well. The other one is not performing academically. The other one is not performing. And then the child sees the other person as you are good, I am not good. And you notice that kind of comparison among them is there. As a parent, how do you come in to handle so that it will not result to something else?
Yeah, well, what we need to do is to encourage more cooperation amongst them than competition. If your brother is not doing so well in this area, why don't you help him? Yeah, so if you have, let's say, homework, or your brother has homework and is unable to do the work, and you can do it, why don't you help him do it? So that they learn together and they help each other instead of competing and comparing who is doing what and who is not doing what. Let them learn to cooperate. In fact, the interesting thing about sibling rivalry is that it teaches the children how to resolve their conflicts amicably.
So there is a positive side of it.
Yes, how to compete fairly. We are in competition, but doesn't mean we are fighting. Okay. But then the competition must be fair. And we are doing it not because we are hurting somebody so that we will get an advantage over him or her, but we are doing it in a very fair manner, and nobody gets hurt. Okay. See, so there is a positive side to that also. And they need to learn this at home so that when they go outside, they can also compete.
So how do I teach them? How do you help the children?
You help them to cooperate. Cooperate, yes. And one interesting thing that we can do is always give them assignments that they have to do together.
Okay.
Together. And they win or get rewards together. No, as brother and sister or sister and brother, no, doing the same thing and getting the reward together. It's just like a football team. Sometimes people make the mistake of rewarding the what?
Best player.
The best player, the goal scorers.
Okay.
Yes. If you are rewarding the goal scorer, what about the goalkeeper? Who is making sure that no balls enter your post?
Okay.
So eventually what you're doing is that you're breaking up the team. What about the defenders who are also making sure that no balls come into your post? They cannot go forward to go and score goals, but they are also making sure that you are not defeated. So if you are rewarding those who are scoring the goals, those who are making sure that you are not defeated, what are you doing to them?
Oh, okay.
You see? So let the children learn to cooperate. But a little bit of competition is also fair.
Okay.
It's also good. It prepares them for the outside world.
So how should that little competition be? For instance, we want to give a practical example that I'm in the home and I want to make sure that my children learn how to compete with each other healthily. Or how do I and what kind of activity I can be giving to them so that they will compete, but at the same time learn that competing with each other is not hurting each other.
You don't just create a situation where they will compete, but you create a situation where they will see that they are doing different things and that how they perform will show in how they do it.
Okay.
For instance, they have household chores. You share it amongst them. You sweep here, you sweep there, and you will clean here, and you will clean there. After they have done that, you will see the difference. No, somebody has done his so well. So you show the other one, no, this is the way that it should have been done, and that is the way it should have been done. So that by doing different things, they are also learning from each other how best things should be done. And don't make it like, because this one swept his area better than you, he's going to get this and you will not get anything.
Okay.
That's where you introduce the competition. See, the animosity,
yes.
Hostility. You are getting this and I'm getting that. And there's a tendency for the other one to even see himself as lower than the other one. See, so you let them do things together, but at the same time, let them know that they need to do theirs, as much as the other one, as better as the other one, or as good as the other person.
Okay. Now, Doctor, we want to find out, with this sibling rivalry, does it have any challenge when not handled well?
When not handled well, even at the at the infant level, the children's level, they are the very young ones level, there is the tendency that the older one, if he or she gets the chance, will hurt the younger one.
Okay.
For instance, if a baby has been born and the older one feels that mommy is giving all her attention to this new one, the day you leave the two of them together, and sometimes parents make that mistake, take care of your sister. You will hear the baby scream when you are somewhere. And when you come, it is the older one who is beating him, because he thinks that he has taken over.
Taking my place.
Yes, taking all his his privileges.
Oh, okay.
You see, so that is one thing that when they are very young, we have to be very careful of. Then also, if we don't handle it well, later in life, it will also degenerate into family discord.
Okay.
No, it begins to hurt the family's togetherness. Because when people are at home and they feel that they are not welcome, they are not liked at home, they will always be looking for opportunities to just leave home.
Leave home. Okay.
So when they marry and they go, they don't want to come
Have
to the family
anything to do.
at all. See, so sometimes there are family togetherness or parties or whatever. You invite them, everybody comes, but one doesn't come because he or she never felt appreciated at home, so doesn't see why. And at that level, when there is anything that you as a family have to put resources together to do, some will just stay out. You see, and sometimes we even exacerbate the problem by comparing them still
Okay.
as older person. Look at your marriage. Your sister's marriage is this, and you look at your marriage, look at your children, and sometimes they may not even have any.
Yes.
And your sister has brought us so many grandchildren, and you look at you haven't brought us anything. And things like that still continues to make the rivalry worse. So the person who sees himself or herself as not doing so well, in the eyes of the parents, begin to look at the other one as a favorite.
Okay.
The parents, yes. And sometimes even the help that parents give to their older children can also make them see that they are not liked, or the parents are not sharing their attention equally among them. Someone may have children, they bring their children to you, you accept them as your grandchildren, you take care of them and do all sorts of things for them. When they are in financial trouble, they come, they ask for a loan, you give them the loan. When the other one brings the children, say, oh, the children are too many here, we can't take care. But you're already taking care of my sister's children, so why are you saying there are too many? And these also your grandchildren. And why are you giving these people money?
And not me.
And not me. You see, sometimes we think that when you are old, it is your children that should take care of you. But there are cases where the older ones still have to support their children, even in their old age.
Okay.
Yes, because times are very difficult. And sometimes parents may even have more resources than the young ones who are starting life. So they need help. And if you give the help differentially and make them see glaringly that you are favoriting or you are concentrating on one against the other,
then it will generate.
Yeah,
so
it goes.
Does it also pose trouble or problems for the parents themselves? The sibling rivalry, does it also have effects on the parents apart from the siblings themselves?
It does. I mean, if you are a parent and you always find your children fighting, I mean, that it's not comfortable. It's not a comfortable situation at all. And then also, it puts some strain on you. Every time you are talking to them, you have to be very careful so that you don't offend one person. No, you have to be very careful so that this one doesn't see that you like this one better than me. You know, and all these are not comfortable things that people want to live with. You know, it stresses you out.
Okay.
Every time you're talking, hey, as for this one, if you are not careful and you say this, then you are bringing problems. So you have to weigh your words before they come out.
Okay.
So, and when they grow, and they are apart, they don't want to, come together, socialize as a family. That will not be comfortable for any older parent.
Okay.
You know, when he sees that his children are drifting apart. When in fact, in your mind, you wanted them to live as a family. That someday, even when you are gone, you will still have them intact. And they will love each other and they will remain as a family. If you find them drifting apart, that can be very uncomfortable for you as an older parent.
Okay. So, Doug, moving on, let's find out, is there a way that you can easily detect that at this point I'm seeing negative reaction amongst my children? The kind of relation they are having is not healthy. Is there some way that you can detect as a parent for you to be able to handle it early?
Yeah, sometimes they make it known to you.
Okay.
Yeah, they make it known to you that you are playing favoritism. So you like this person more than us. Why is it that every time so and so does something, you don't say anything, but every time we do something wrong, then you are on us? So you can tell that they themselves know that you are sort of concentrating your attention on one or two of them to the neglect of the others. And when that happens, then you have to bring them together, let them know that, well, that is not the case. And if that is what they think, then you are sorry. It is not your intention to do that. But if that is what you appear to be doing, then they should forgive you. You start and make amends and see how best you can make them all feel that they are all your children.
So what are some of the practical things you can do? Practical things. For instance, you've seen that now they really not getting along with each other. They are old now. Maybe it can be that they have even married and they are all far apart, but they are not getting on well because of this rivalry issue. What role should you play as a parent in order to resolve that?
Yeah, you are a parent, you are the referee. So you have to bring them together. Once in a while, you have a family party. You know, Christmas, for instance, you invite all your children and grandchildren. Everybody should come. You come. Then we sit down, we talk. And through that, you also find a way of trying to put their minds at ease that is not what you want them to do at that age. And that is not what you are anticipating will happen when you are gone. So if there are any differences or if they have any problems, now you are still around. Let them tell you what the differences are or what the problems are, and then try and resolve that. So bring them together. Sometimes you can even organize an outing.
Okay.
A family outing. You, your children, your grandchildren, your in-laws, you bring them all together, then you go and let the children themselves, your grandchildren themselves, also know that they are grandchildren of the same, the same
Doctor,
grandparents.
we will go for a short break. When we come, Doctor, we are going to talk more because this is an issue that is silent. I would say a silent killer of family today. Now you could see that a lot of people are not at peace or at ease with their own siblings because of the small issues. So I think if we talk more about that and highlight some of the things that as parents we can do, it will bring family unity and peace. Viewers, we are still on our topic, sibling rivalry. We'll go for a quick break. When we come, Doug is going to tell us a lot of things that we can do as parents to be able to overcome this challenge that we are facing. Stay tuned and we'll be back. Welcome, viewers. You can still send your contributions and questions through the number on the screen. Your questions are welcome. You know, that will help us to know how you are understanding the topic, your contribution, and what you want to add to it. So that at least those who are battling with this issue will be able to find a better way of solving it. We want to live in a peaceful environment. We want to have a peaceful home. We want to enjoy our parents and our children. How do we live together as a family? So bring in more of your contribution and your questions. We'll continue. Doug, yes, when you get into the Bible, deep down the Bible, we have some of these issues that went on. We can talk of David and his family. It did not augur well. What advice are you giving to parents on this issue? Let's talk a little about some of the things that happened. David, Joseph, Jacob, and other relatives in the Bible.
Yeah, when we look at all this, you will see that the parents played very, very significant roles in the kind of animosity and hostility that developed among the brothers and sisters. Joseph, in the case of Joseph, you can see clearly that Jacob liked Joseph more than the other children, all because his love for Rachel was much, much higher than his love for the other wife.
And it means that this thing can also permeate in families where we have two women for one man.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The love for one woman will also be transferred to her children.
Okay.
Yes. And then the other one, I mean, for instance, even parents who are single parents, sometimes they look at their children and they remember their husbands. And they visit their frustrations on the children. Your foolish father. And your, see, so you see, in their case, because Joseph, Jacob liked Rachel more than the other one. And unfortunately, Rachel couldn't have children. She had only two. So the first one she got, who was Joseph, was like a darling to Jacob. So he showered a lot of attention on him, and the other children saw that that was what their father was doing. See, and even after they sold him into slavery, and they came and told him that some animal had killed him, look, he wept and cried for so many days. And when Benjamin was born, I mean, Benjamin was born at the time that Joseph was sold. He shifted the attention from, now Joseph was no more, so the attention went to Benjamin.
Okay.
So they could see clearly that this man was in love with the children of Rachel.
Okay.
And there is no way that you can say that they didn't see that their father was being biased towards the rest of them. And that is why the hatred developed between them and their brother Joseph. Because they saw that the father, who was the prime supporter of the family, was more interested in Joseph than all the others. Then when it comes to even Jacob and Esau, you saw what happened. One parent was for the other parent was also for the younger one, and
always mother's love is sweet.
You see, and I don't know whether Esau got to know that the mother was the prime mover of that idea.
Oh, okay.
Yes, no, I don't know whether he got that information and what he would have done to the mother if he knew that. See, so most of the times it is the parents who perpetuate these things. It is the parents who make it worse than it should be.
Okay.
But we parents must be very careful, because human as we are, sometimes the tendency is that you will like somebody because he or she is very obedient and is very like this, and sometimes people even say, oh, as for this, your son is just like you. I remember one of my own children, one day I was carrying her on my shoulder and somebody saw him say, oh, this is your picture in your room.
Yeah.
Everybody says, that's what the baby you're carrying. It is the picture. The picture you have in your room.
So if you are not careful, you'll be tempted.
Exactly. And everybody who sees him says, this is Dr. Akuamoah, but nobody has to tell them that he is my son.
Okay.
But they know right away that he is my son.
Okay.
So sometimes you tend to, as a parent, if you're not careful, you tend to like such people more than the others. But we have to be very, very diplomatic in bringing up our children. Even if there is that tendency, don't let it show openly. And don't let the children, the others, see that, well, this is daddy's child. The rest of us. And sometimes it looks as if we inadvertently divide the children between us. Some of them like their mother, others like their father. So if there's anything that people have to confide in others, they will know where to go. They will not take the two of you. They will go and tell the other one that they think will be sympathetic towards their cause.
And so, but Doc, that's very point. How do parents, how should they handle it? Because it's there. You notice that the children are divided. Some like mother, some like father. So how the parents, what should they do?
It is the parents who should break that thing. Because if your daughter comes to you and tells you something that should have gone to your father, or the two of you, you should ask, have you told your father? If you haven't, then why don't you tell him also? See, but sometimes the parents, we encourage that. No, the child comes to you and says something that you think should have gone to the father or the mother, and then you keep quiet and you work on it for him or her. See? So eventually they begin to see that, well, this is where they can feel comfortable, where this is where they can get heard. And
even at times when one is even against it, the other one will be supporting. And so secretly, you will just do it for the person.
So if the two of us don't pair up,
that means the father and mother should unite.
Exactly, and present a united front. When it comes to bringing the children up. Don't let us disagree on even something like discipline or even getting a reward for one person or the other. Don't let us disagree openly in front of them. If we want to disagree, let's disagree in secret and then settle the disagreement and then come forward and present a united front to the children.
So certain decisions should be taken collectively?
All of them.
All?
Yes. All of them. Don't because sometimes we create a situation where the children themselves begin to think that, well, mother is for us, as for daddy, he's for the other ones. See, but we should always present a united front. If the child has done something wrong, let the two of us collectively query that person and let him or her know that what he or she did was wrong. But the moment we ourselves are separated, inquiring among ourselves, then we cannot bring any unity among the children. Yes.
So, Doc, say something to children who are hurt or who are peeved by certain behaviors of their parents, and because of that, they don't even find it easy talking to their other siblings. And so there is rivalry, a little quarrel, a little disunity among them. Is there any word of a message to them?
If they feel aggrieved because their parents are doing something they don't like, nothing prevents them from telling their parents exactly what they feel. Because for all you know, your parent may not even be aware that that is the kind of behavior he's putting up, or that is the kind of behavior that you are seeing in him or her. So if you think that one of you, of your parents like you more than the other, tell the one you think likes you more than the other what you think the other one is doing. See? And then the other one, if you are told, also make sure that you don't exacerbate the situation, and you talk to your child and then also talk to your partner and see how the two of you can resolve the differences. Because sometimes we worsen the situation. They come and tell you, oh, this is, oh, don't mind your daddy. As for daddy, that's how he is. See? and then you cement the bond between you and that child, because now the child knows that you understand him or you understand her. See, but what you have to do is to make them feel that, oh, you don't think that your daddy or your mommy will do that, or he knows that he has done that. So I'll talk to daddy, I'll talk to mommy. Then the two of you go secretly, you can fight in there, but then come out and then let the children know that you are together and you are your children. And you see, no matter what, the children are our children. Wherever they go, even when they have grown up and they have become old men and women, they are still our children. People will always make references to us. They'll look at them and say, oh, isn't this Dr. Akuamoah Boateng's son or Dr. Akuamoah Boateng's daughter? See? So wherever they go, no matter how old they are, they still are our children. And in our part of the world, if you're a parent, you never stop being a parent. Yes, you will be a parent until you go to your grave. Yes, yes.
Because, you know, one thing too, you've noticed that when grandchildren start coming in, that is where the thing at times even gets glare. Because you love one so much so that you are easily attracted to the children, your grandchildren. So when they all come together, you realize that you are having some kind of attraction towards one side. And in that case, doctor, don't you think that also can also let the siblings also have that kind of, the grandchildren also develop that kind of hatred too?
Yeah, but it would be very wrong for the parents to do that. Even if you don't like your children, the grandchildren have nothing to do with the problem you have with your children. So as for the grandchildren, just assuming that that is the case, that there are some, just forget about that relationship between you and your children and concentrate on the grandchildren as separate individuals, different from their parents. Because children are children. They come to you and all they know is grandpa or grandma. They don't know what you and their mommy or daddy are doing. All they know is they have come to grandpa, they have come to grandma. And being a grandparent myself, I know how I feel about my grandchildren. You see, when they come as, sisters, and they come to me as grandpa. And the two of them call me grandpa. And when they are doing anything, it is grandpa or grandma. They don't know what relations with their mothers are. All they know is us. So don't transfer the difficulties you had with your children to your grandchildren. Yes, because the grandchildren, they don't know those difficulties.
And it means that if you don't even handle it very well, it will come to a point where the other mother or father or the other child who is peeved can even prevent the grandchildren to come to you. In that case, it means you are separating yourself totally from your family.
And if the grandchildren will have any problems with their grandparents, it will be because of their parents. They wouldn't know that. It is the parents who will tell them. No. As for your grandpa, he's like this, he's like that. But the child doesn't know that grandpa is like that.
And so that rivalry will perpetuate from one generation to another.
From the parents. It will come to the grandchildren. No. But as for children, they are so forgiving that even if you have hurt them, within a few minutes time, they come back to you. No. You would have forgotten what you did to them. But it is us, the parents, who perpetuate these things. Because some people can tell their children, as for this, my sister, don't go to her. Don't ever go to her. And if she gives you food, don't eat. Don't take anything from her and that sort of thing. But the child doesn't know why you are saying this. As for her, she knows that your sister is her auntie. So she goes to her and treats her as another mother.
So it means that with this sibling rivalry, if not well treated, it can be a generational problem.
Exactly. It can go on and on. You have families where sisters don't like each other. And for that matter, they have talked to their children not to relate to the children of the other sister. And it's going on and on. And there's competition in the house for the family property and things like that. We think that should not happen.
And it's something that, let me say, does it have any effect on the family name? Can it have?
Family. Yes, it can. Because people are also watching us. If it's in the village you live, they know how this family is behaving.
Okay.
Oh, as for this family, everybody, is on his own. They don't like each other. And because of this and that, everybody has left. Quite recently went to my wife's village, and she showed me a house that belonged to her grandfather. The grandfather built the house for the family. But because of family squabbles, everybody has left. And the house has simply collapsed.
Oh.
It's broken down, yes. There are a few strangers living in there. There's no family member in there, simply because there was one woman in that family who decided to take everything
to heart.
For herself.
Wow.
And her children. And the others also found a way, and they went and built their own houses. This woman died. Her children also went and built their own houses, and the family house has simply collapsed. So it can go on and on if we don't handle it well. And if at some point we don't stop it.
Okay.
And say enough is enough.
Good.
We are brothers and sisters, we are grandchildren, we come from the same stock. So whatever our parents did, let them go. And we are a new breed, and we are going to carry on the family name. Good. Otherwise, that animosity will run through the family till the end of the world.
But I think let's just dialogue. Can this terminate a family? Like, can it, for instance, let's say Betty's family, because of sibling rivalry? This one is here, this one is here, this one is here. Is there a possibility that the entire family tree can be destroyed, and each and every one will be somewhere?
The family tree will not be destroyed, because as for the family tree, you can't change it, because you are looking at who gave birth to who.
Yes.
They are still the people who gave birth to you. But as for the family coming together as a unit, the family togetherness, cohesiveness, that one can be destroyed. Because you can have a situation where members of the family do not relate to each other. After all, we are grown-ups. Everybody has their own family, and we have built our own houses. We are living in our houses. We are here and I'm there. That is why in our part of the world, the family house is a very good idea.
Okay.
Because it is that which unites us.
Okay.
No matter what you have, even if you have built a castle, if there's a problem in the family, it is where we all go to meet.
Okay.
So when there is a matter for us all to settle as a family, we go and meet in the family house. And that brings us together, irrespective of what each one of us has built for himself or herself. But if people decide that they will not come.
So, Doc, are you advocating that we should go back to our various villages and build a family house?
Oh, no.
So that we can unite?
As for the family house, we must maintain it.
Very important.
It's very important. You see, in some developed countries, you can always locate a family through their family house. Even they themselves don't live there.
Okay.
The Rockefellers have a family house. No, the Fords have a family house. They don't live in that house. They have built their own houses, but there is always that house there that serves as a memorial for the fathers and mothers who have passed.
Okay.
This is our family house.
Oh, okay.
And it's good in that part of the world, and sometimes it is good because the people in the family who cannot build for themselves, will always live there.
Okay. Okay.
So at least all the time you will have some roots in the family house.
Praise.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doctor.
So,
in fact, we are a little bit far behind time, so we will try to wrap up by just giving us 2 advices to the parents, 1 to parents and 1 to children. How we can avoid the sibling rivalry and live in peace.
We keep saying avoid, but we can't avoid it.
Okay.
We have to manage it.
Okay.
As for the competition, it will always be there, but we have to manage it, and we have to ensure that we don't show favoritism. We don't let the children see us as favorites of some of them, but not the others.
Okay.
We are referees, so we have to be impartial in what we do.
Great.
And show that we love all of them equally.
Great.
And treat each one as an individual.
Okay.
Not equally, but as an individual. Everybody has his own
individual difference.
Yeah, individual strengths and weaknesses. So we look at them and then see how we can help them develop those areas. And we must do this when they are young.
Good.
We must let them love each other. There's something I have observed among my daughters that I like very much. No, they are just like one.
Okay.
When this one is traveling, it will take the children to the other one.
Okay.
To go and stay there with them and take care of them until they come back. And when this one also is going somewhere, they will bring the daughter to us, whilst this one also brings the daughter. So those kids are always playing together.
Okay.
Let's come to a point where one who can't talk much now is calling the other one by her name.
Oh, okay.
No, she's not calling her by her name, but by her name. You see, because this other one calls her all the time.
Okay.
So she has learned her name, and she thinks that every child is called that. So when she wants to call the other one, she calls her by her name.
Wow.
You see? And these are children. They will grow up to see that there are no differences between them. They are one.
Okay.
And sisters and cousins.
Okay.
So,
thank you so much, Doc.
You're welcome.
Viewers,
You're welcome.
We've learned a lot, we've heard a lot. Now the ball is in our court. How do we prevent sibling rivalry? In our part of the world, we need to live as a united body. We need to live as a family. And he says something that pushed me so much, that family house that unites us, we should maintain. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we are also encouraging you to always tune in to this and every Friday, 8 p.m. on Hope TV. A lot of topics are going to be discussed with experts, to help us to handle issues. There are a lot of family issues nowadays. Let's all come together and learn. Your contribution, our contribution, will help make a happy life and a happy family. And we'll have a happy country to live in. God bless you. Till we meet next week, stay blessed.